Hello, everybody. It's Saturday night, so I just had to have a little bit of a different entrance. Welcome to the Producer's Perspective Live. It is Saturday night. We are not on Broadway. We are on a screen, but that's what we're doing right now. So we're going to make the best of it, right? It's Saturday night. No movies, no shows, no dinner out, no date nights, none of that stuff. You get to hang with me for a little bit. More importantly, you get to hang with an unbelievable guest tonight. I'm going to actually just read. I'm not going to do some clever introduction because usually my introductions aren't clever in the first place. But two, I don't need to. I'm literally going to read her Wikipedia page, right? So you can't write your own Wikipedia pages, or you sort of can, but you really can't. They have to be verified. Anyway, her Wikipedia page says she is the most prolific and honored female theatrical composer in history. And she's here with us tonight. Jeanine Tesori, Thoroughly Modern Millie, Violet, Fun Home, Shrek, Caroline or Change, which was just about to get a revival. We're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk a lot about where she gets her inspiration for shows. She has such an incredible, diverse collection of material that she's done. And I've known her since those Thoroughly Modern Millie days. And I'm so thankful she's here tonight. We're going to get to her in a minute. I just noticed I'm wearing a golf shirt today. That's what I'd be doing. It's on Saturday. I'd be golfing. No golf. Little wee golf maybe this afternoon with my kid. But other than that, the golf shirts are just for live streams now, apparently. But they will be back on a golf course soon enough. We're going to get through this together. Don't forget, we are here for the Actors Fund. Don't forget to donate if you can right there on my Facebook page. Hopefully we're doing, I haven't actually checked it in a bit. I think we're doing pretty well. I'm very proud of all you guys and all you listeners out there. Hey, by the way, throw in your questions for Jeanine into the comment section, okay? Throw questions in there and we'll get to it. Maybe you'll see yourself featured on the screen. So send us any questions you may have about anything. Oh, and let's see where people are calling from tonight. We got Vermont, the Green Mountain State in the house. Happy Saturday from La La Land, says Mary Alice. Hello from West by God. I don't know where that is. New York City in the house. Hell's Kitchen here. So let's hear it. Tell me where you're calling from, or when you're streaming in from. I don't know. I'm all confused. That sideways entrance just kind of really just threw me off kilter, literally. North Bergen, New Jersey, West Virginia, whole bunch of you out here from all over this country that seems very small right now, right? We're all connected. I saw this incredible Twitter graphic video that showed through cell phone data, get this, through cell phone data, they showed how all those people that hung out at spring break when they weren't supposed to, it showed actually where they traveled after spring break. It's a great visual example of how social distancing is imperative right now, because just these few people on this beach in Fort Lauderdale, I think it was, where they spread all over the right half, if you will, the east coast of, or not the east coast, the east half of the United States, just people from one beach. So as we always say, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Especially as a couple places around this country, including New York City, it's approaching the apex. It's getting really serious, really hot out there. So stay home, stay home, stay home, so we can flatten this curve as much as possible. Okay, look, we got Texas in the house, home of Sandy Duncan. I love Sandy Duncan. Los Angeles, Maryland, we got the whole country here. San Francisco's here. I love it. So let me not ramble on any longer. Let's just get to the heart of the matter and bring on the most, reading again, prolific and honored female theatrical composer in history. Here she is from her kitchen, Jeanine Tesori.
I'm in my kitchen.
You're in your kitchen. I love it.
My hair looks bad.
You look amazing. What tattoo is that, by the way? Show us that tattoo.
Let me see. I have to get it on camera. So this one, this I got this summer, and this is the Jesus. This is the Fun Home Why can't I do this correctly? Anyway, David Zinn designed a fun home. I have the wallpaper that we used to have, and that is
amazing.
on my arm.
You're like the cool. How old is your daughter now that I met on
She's
through?
22. She is the best. She's a good Corin bud. We are figuring it out, and she's a gem. She's really been incredible.
She also must think she has the coolest mom around for you to be sporting those arm tats. I mean, that's
I
amazing.
mean, you know, the reason I got them was because of her. When she was, I don't know, maybe 16 or 17, she said, "Can we just do this?" And I thought, ugh, I don't want tattoos. Cut to.
You did it together?
Yeah.
That is the cool. Some like tell me it was some like East Village cool place downtown. Where was
It totally was. It was. And then I started going to Bang Bang, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like the old lady at Bang Bang. It's so sad. And then I started going to this amazing guy in Greenpoint. And then I'm almost done. And then I'm just going to get one more. But you can't actually donate blood if you've gotten a tattoo in the last 12 months. I tried to donate blood, and you can't do it, which I didn't know. Who knew?
This is why you are cool and I am not. So believe it or not, I do have one tattoo. I have one tattoo. I got it.
Is it a golf tattoo?
No, that's what I would get now, frankly. It's a golf ball somewhere. But I have one tattoo, and I got it at a mall in Las Vegas. Like at one of the.
So you shouldn't get married or get a tattoo in Las Vegas. It's sort of a rule.
I know. So tell me, I think I know the answer, but I ask everyone that comes on board. First of all, before we get to that, did you know your Wikipedia page said this? This is the most incredible thing on the planet.
Wait, what does it say?
You are the most prolific and honored female theatrical composer in history.
Huh. Well, there aren't many of us, so, but they're gaining. So I guess that's you know, I don't think in terms of female and male. I think in terms of if you make work or you don't make work. But there are actually a lot of us now. I didn't know it said that.
I do want to dive into this a little bit because I said in my introduction, you're so prolific, but you're not just prolific like about in one style. You write such a diversity or such a diverse worth of material. How do you switch hats like that in a way? Like I know a lot of composers, very successful ones, their music tends to sound a similar way throughout their catalog. Yours is so different. How do you go from Shrek to Fun Home?
God, my hair is super tragic. You know what I had?
Everyone's hair is super tragic right now. Wait till 4 weeks from now.
Well, oh my God. I mean, you see my dog, when my dog, and this is absolutely true, when my dog is stationary and on the floor, I can't tell her from the bath mat. It's going to be, when we emerge from this, we're going to look like, we're just going to sort of crawl out. Thank God for barbers. I had an amazing teacher when I was little. I started playing the piano at 3, and I've told this story, but it really is true. I played Edelweiss every night, every day during all waking hours until my mother, you know, she needed something. It was either medication or I got a teacher, and she wait, I got lost while I was telling this story. Oh, I had a great teacher who was, he loved all music and he didn't have any kind of judgment about it. And he would just say, you know, we're going to study all kinds of music and we're going to play things in the circle of fifths. And if you want to play a TV theme, we're going to do that. And if you want to improvise, we're going to do that. And we're going to do this and this and this and never judge music. Music is music. And he just, and then I studied world music and produced many, many CDs right out of school with my mentor, who put me behind in a producer's booth really early on, which was so helpful. I just got incredible training right out of school with him. And so my ear was sort of filled with a lot of different kinds of music. And I also try to write things that I want to study. So I consider myself such a perpetual student. I still think about going back to graduate school. And
I just imagine your other students being like, we got the most.
I tell them that all the time. I'm like, I don't know. I always start like, I'm not sure what I have to teach you. I'll really try. But they're like, oh God, you are. I don't really know. I mean, you teach the math of composition in a way, and the way that masters have handled situations and solved something. But then there is the mystery of what you bring, and that you can't teach that. You can only reveal it or draw it out or ask questions about it.
So how do, like, does a story speak to you in terms of the sound it requires? Like, how do you find the sound of a show or a subject matter? Does that make sense?
I've learned to, because I'm old now, I've learned that when I'm looking at a source, at the source material, that either I feel like for me that it sings or it doesn't sing. And it's a world, a sonic world that I want to live with for 5 years. And when I say 5 years, that's just the writing of it. I mean, just when we were working on Encores, Dick and I were doing he revised the script considerably so it could move with the times. You know, Thoroughly Modern Millie is one of those shows that did not speak to the time. As our awareness moved on, Millie needed to be revised in a big way to address that, and we did, and we're doing that when at the time that we were stopped. But that's a real world. That world of Fletcher Henderson and dance music, 1922, the world of Violet and Appalachia is a real world. And in Fun Home, like I could hear that it would sing, and that's a time in which I grew up, so I knew what I wanted to do with it. And if that doesn't occur to me, I can't write it because I don't know how to approach it.
First of all, before we get to my next question, I just want to put up this comment from Angela Parrish in case you needed some advice on this. Mary, can you throw that comment up there? Angela Parrish, when talking about grad school, says this: "Don't do it. Grad school is a trap." Just so you know.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. I mean, I am 58, so I don't think, although I will say, people know that I'm a slightly insane student. So I did take a course at the law school with Professor Susan Sturm, who I love so much. And I took Civ Pro, and I sat in the back, and I was like the crazy old woman in the back who no one knew, like, why are you there? But I do a lot of my work has involved in the last 10 years has involved social justice. And I wanted to understand precision of language. And I learned so much, and it was so great to not have homework. So I would be there, and I bought the giant book, which I now use to lift because there's nothing, I don't have dumbbells. So I'm like lifting it at my apartment. But just looking at all these young people just hating the books, and Tom Schmidt, who's a musician and a wonderful, wonderful lawyer, who's a friend of mine. We always talk about, the metaphor of law and the way that your story gets played out in theater. There is a direct relationship.
It's so funny too. Like, I remember going to school and like trying to take the least amount of credits possible because you just so dreaded being there. And now I think back, like I was paying it was only $100,000 back then. Right. If I would go back today, I would take so many more credits than they would allow me to take to try to soak up that kind of knowledge.
Oh, I know. I'd be like, I'll take this. It'd like be a salad bar. I'll take one of these and 7 croutons, and I'll take this and this and this and a lot of dressing.
If you fail, who cares if you get D's or C's? Just soak it up. Soak it up.
It's so true. I'd say that to my daughters in her senior year. Her senior year at Brown just got, it exploded. But when she was talking about grades, I thought, like, who cares? You're not going to, it's like, who cares? Just study, just fill your head with all of those thoughts from other people, and you'll tease it out in years to come.
So tell me, you had a couple of shows interrupted by this.
So many. I mean,
tell me.
Okay, I'll tell you everything that was interrupted. And look, I'm so grateful because I'm grateful. There are people in situations, and we are not in that situation, and it does get revealed that the inequity in the system. Millie was canceled. Millie was going to be at Encores. Blue, which was the opera that premiered this summer, was being done at Kennedy Center, and then Chicago Lyric, and mostly Mozart. Those are going to be postponed, maybe canceled. I don't know about mostly Mozart, but I would assume that will happen. Caroline or Change at 5 o'clock correctly, Broadway went dark, and right before 8 o'clock, invited dress
Oh
happened.
my gosh.
Yeah, I teach at Yale, so my class has been remote, and that I love the students, so we've continued on. I think that's it. I don't know.
I mean, I love that you're so grateful because yeah, it's amazing when you have all these things going, but when you have all these going, something like this gets in the way, so much stops. How do you stay laughing and positive and throughout all this? I mean, these are some things that have been, I mean, Caroline or Change, getting back to Broadway and another chance, and Thoroughly Modern Millie. I mean, you were waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't think in those terms. I don't think those terms, I guess, because I was raised, my father was a doctor. I was raised a real doctor's daughter, and my mother was a nurse. And they, in their time, were on the front lines. My father was in a MASH unit, and his office was in our home. And when people rang the wrong doorbell, it'd be like bing bong, and we'd answer, and someone would be holding their own thumb and be like, "Oh, Dad," you know. So I feel like the moral imperative of this time was so clear. I was like, shut it down, pay people, give them helicopter money, get them going. I'm grateful because I have, I had a certain amount of passive income, and that will happen again. I know how to negotiate that. I've been a freelancer since the age of 19. So I'm also, as a Sicilian, I just wait for the meteor to hit the earth. When I get into bed at night, I'm like, a meteor didn't hit the earth. Well, something has happened, and I feel like, a Scorpio, a Sicilian. But I just see people, these healthcare workers, and people who are still jammed on the subway, people who don't have $100 to put together, people who are having to reach out for help, who've never reached out for help before, and that shuts me right up. And as I'd said, the joy comes from a deep place of, I've worked really hard for this career, but I also have understood the luck that I've had to be mentored by certain people. And, I lived in a lighthouse for a year. I know how to structure my time. I just
Wait,
do.
talk about bearing the lead. You lived in a lighthouse for a year?
Oh yeah, when I was the assistant conductor at Tommy, and I realized, like, I just shouldn't be doing this anymore. I should be doing something else. And I saved all my money, and I rented a house. It was built in 1873 across the Lake Champlain from Vergennes, Vermont. It's actually pretty close to where Alison Bechtel lives. And I thought, I'm going to spend the money I've saved from working on Broadway. I'm going to write for 10 months. It happened to be a lighthouse. I didn't search like, hello, any lighthouses free? It happened to be a privately owned lighthouse. I knew this town very well. I know the Adirondacks really well. And I went there for 10 months, and I had, it was like a Walden. It was like a sort of my own little retreat. And I had a piano and easels and paints, and this really dates me, laser discs, because I was also studying conducting and scores and what. So and and 10 months out of there, we had the first version of Violet.
Oh.
Yeah. But
And
nobody knew me as a writer. So I remember talking on the phone to my mom or something, and I said, if it never leaves this living room, so be it. I gave myself the time. If I'm not supposed to be a writer, because I wasn't sure I would go up there and not, eat Butterfingers. I didn't know as a writer, you have to know how to structure your time when no one gives you an assignment.
so how are you doing that right now? Like what do you calendar your day? I mean, do you put time blocks in? What are your tips or tricks to get yourself done?
Well, I've also given myself a break to make the adjustment for
Mhm.
people in my life, to create some space, to not think of myself at the beginning. A lot of people are like, oh, this is such a great time to write. And I thought, this is mentally and socially the most challenging time, especially for people who, they're not, I've been alone in a room in a way for many years writing, but most people don't work that way. And when we lose the connection, there is a cost and there's a consequence. So I wanted to make sure that the people are in my circle at City Center, people in this building, my daughter, my students, most of all, my daughter, my mom just went through cancer treatment. And so it was really important that she stayed safe. Like New Yorkers, I feel like this is a time where you really, the New York comes out. But I was able to really think as a dramaturg. That's a big part of composing for me with the opera. I'm writing an opera for the Met with George Brandt, and we were able to do that kind of work. The harder work has been the musical work. The design work behind has been okay. I've also never cleaned so much in my life, like old-timey cleaning. Like I remember my dad used to say, I want to be able to operate off this floor. And now I'm thinking, you're dead, but you sure could now. I mean, I've cleaned so much that I'm waiting to say like, hey, Jim, and 6B underneath, like, sorry, I cleaned too much, right through a hole in my kitchen floor. So that is really exhausting. And I have a whole other appreciation for people who stay home, take care of their kids, clean and cook. Like, I'd rather that in musical theater, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've spent more time with my daughter than ever, which is amazing and one of the blessings that come out of this. But boy, does it make me appreciate how hard my wife works and how much patience she has to have with that.
Right, the people stay home, the teachers, those, it really is incredible.
You wanted to mention there's a charity that you're affiliated with, right? That is doing some great work right now. This or Feed the Front Line. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, Luca, it's actually not my affiliation, but I've donated and I'm really keeping a watch on them. Luca Di Pietro and Kate Di Pietro and their family. Luca owns 5 Italian restaurants, including Terraluci Vino. And they very quickly organized and are feeding medical workers, feeding the front line. Luca also responded very quickly with the earthquake in Italy. They are an amazing family. And so, yeah, it's up right now. And I think they've fed 11,000 hospital workers, nurses, and it's ways that they can do it. It's not pizza. The thing that's really hard about pizza is that pizza makes people come together in the room, and they want to serve people so that also the medical workers stay apart, is my understanding. So it's a wonderful organization, and it's operating at a high level.
Here's an interesting question from Drew, who I believe is in Baltimore. Question: how do you know when a song of yours has made the final cut? And he explains what he means by that further down, which means your own standards. Like, how do you know when you've written something and you're like, okay, that's going in. That's going in. Oh my God.
Drew, thank you. I love Baltimore. I know that sounds like a little bit like me, a little twee, but I don't know. I don't know until I put it in front of an audience. Like when we did Violet and we wrote that song, Let It Sing, I thought, I hope it works. And when we did Gimme Gimme, I mean, Gimme Gimme was written for Sutton. Dick and I wrote it very quickly. It was right before one of the previews. We were in previews. It used to be a Jimmy, remember? It was a Jimmy release.
Oh, I remember.
We wrote it on the piano. We played it for everybody in the lobby. And I was like, and the stage manager said, 4 minutes and 3 seconds, and everybody ran. And I looked at Dick and we're like, oh, I hope it works.
Oh my God.
So I don't know until the audience comes in and says something. I hope, and I know in a certain way what something would be designed to, but there'll be times I think, oh, this song, man, and then it's just boo, terrible. And there are others, so I don't know.
You just keep throwing stuff against the wall until you get that ovation, I guess.
I've learned more now about what not to write and when something isn't quite, because there's a feeling of design to it. But we wrote 11 openings for Fun Home. Oh, I mean, I have them. I should auction them off. Maybe they would get $5. But we wrote so many openings of Fun Home that we were all on a Zoom call the other night. And last night, oh my God, the other night, it feels like it was 1882. And I said to Beth, we have another opening for you. And she laughed because all we kept doing was throwing openings at her.
Uh, Dorothy Wallace asks, your shows have great roles for women. Was this a specific choice? If so, did it make success more difficult?
Oh my God, that is a great question. So yes, I specifically now, if I don't, if I can pay my mortgage and get my daughter through school, um, I that's what thing, it's that really weird balance that you have to do. But I want to bring on female characters that I haven't seen before. Caroline was someone, for me, Millie was someone that I hadn't written before that kind of reinvention. Violet for sure. I mean, the three Fionas. I've been playing with that idea for a really long time. The three Fionas in Shrek really helped me realize how to do the Allisons. It almost felt like a sketch, a study
Oh my
to
God.
do Allison, and writing for Allison that was a dream come true. It was so challenging, and there's still mornings I wake up, well, not now, because every morning I'm like coffee and then I'll deal. But there are still sometimes I'm just so glad I'm not writing it because that was really hard. I felt like the rules just kept changing when we were writing it. But I want to, and I'm writing a show with David and Lindsay Aver that hasn't been announced, but it has a really, I hope, a really compelling female character. But I don't know, I don't think about success that much. I'm really surprised when anybody knows what I do because the Broadway scene for someone like me who has an average um, fame, like really under the rug kind of, um, I guess I would call it fame. The success for me is that I keep doing it, that I can keep writing, and I have made a life in this business because when I graduated from Columbia, I thought I guess I'll play the piano. I had no idea.
Well, thank God you are not just playing the piano. Thank God you left the lighthouse. What's the thing you look forward to the most about doing when this is all over, when you're able to just go out and do anything you want? Doesn't have to be going to a show. It can be get a latte at a Starbucks. What's the one thing you're like, I can't wait to do this?
I feel like really hugging my daughter, like really hugging her, not through cloth or, that kind of, and I don't know how you feel, but I look forward to watching people, even on TV, sit next to each other and not thinking, God, get apart, get apart.
I can see people from my window down on the river on the west side over here jogging and biking still, and I'm like, don't bike so close to him. Slow down, slow down, slow down. It's just
But
it's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing that smile with us, as well as all of your skills and tips. It's a real joy. It's such a pleasure to have known you for so long and to
Oh
watch
yeah, it was
that thing
such a
grow.
pleasure to talk to you and see you again from the
Yes.
podcast last time to this. It's been great. Thank you for doing it.
Of course, my pleasure. We'll see you soon, and I'm going to give you a hug when I see you next. Bye-bye, Jeanine.
Bye.
That is the Saturday Night Live stream. That is the Saturday Night Live stream for the Producer's Perspective Live. Jeanine Tesori. Hope you enjoyed her. She's an amazing composer, an amazing person, and I'm just, as we wrap up, we're almost at the end of the second week of this, believe it or not, and it's been incredible having all these people on, and it warms my heart and soul, and I hope it's doing the same for you. We have a lot more coming because we're going to be stuck inside for a little bit longer, it looks like. Mary, who do we have tomorrow and coming up? Look at all those people. Tomorrow, Kevin McCullum, multi-Tony Award-winning Broadway producer Kevin McCullum. He is going to drop some serious knowledge. I bet he has some very specific insight on what's going to happen when we get back. Kevin is one of the smartest Broadway business people I know, and I can't wait to pick his brain about what he thinks our transition back is going to be like when we turn those lights back on. Maybe he knows when that's going to happen. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Don't forget, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. If you're biking with someone on the river, just please do me a favor and bike a little bit further away, because I'm going to like break through my window here trying to tell people to be a little further away. Actors Fund we talked about. Don't forget about Feed the Frontlines. And lastly, our new favorite segment of the show, Something to Smile About. Something to smile about. We're always going to leave you with something to smile about. Mary's going to throw a comment into a link into the live comments. Make sure you click it. This is a guy named Jeremy West. Jeremy West on his Facebook page has started a hashtag. It's called Quarantine a Musical. Quarantine a Musical, where he takes the title of a musical and he comes up with a fun little quarantine spin on it, like this one. Like stay home. How timely, Mary. I didn't know you were going to do that. Stay home instead of Jeanine's fun home. Hashtag Quarantine a Musical. You got another one in there? Sunday in the Park. Sunday in the Park alone. Sunday in the Park alone. How about once on the, that's mine. One on this island, the social distancing musical. How about Zoom is frozen? Oh God, these are funny. These are funny. One on this island. I gotta go. I hope that put a smile on your face. We'll see you tomorrow.